And we are live. What's going on, everybody? I am Adam. This is Open Late. Tonight, we've got the Storage Shell Turtle re-release figures that just came out. I was lucky enough to pick up the full set through Walmart in Canada. The set in Canada is, of course, the multilingual card or the international card. I don't know what you kind of call it, but so you don't just get the English, you also get French, and you get a really really boring card back, which I will cover in a minute. Once I get some of the rest of the turtles out, I will compare this Donatello, which I got in Canada, with this Donatello, which I got in the United States of America, which has a very, very different card. And like I said, we'll go over that when we get there. But first things first, I just want to say hello to everybody. Check in with what's going on in the chat. Master Versal Toy Hunters here says good evening. Good evening to you, sir. All the way from Eternia on the other end of the world. Jeremy is here. What's going on, my friend? Let's do this already. Yeah, I know I was a little bit slow getting the live going. I apologize. Sam Rock, Sam, I feel like every time I do a video, you're here right from the start, which I totally appreciate. And Michael's here as well. What's going on, Michael? Happy to have you. Happy to have everybody. And let's get right into it. I'm going to start by opening 4 of these 5. I'm not going to open this guy. I'm going to keep this guy on the card. Donatello is my favorite turtle because he is the best turtle. So this one I'm going to keep on the card just because I got to, and I kind of just got to, so I could do the card comparison. I don't keep a lot of figures on card, but in this case I will because I got an extra. But yeah, so set this guy off to the side. We will get some of these open. I'm going to open them kind of in a pretty random order. I'll open Donatello last, as he is my favorite. And he was, as far as I can remember, the only one of the Storage Shell Turtles that I actually had as a kid, which is weird. I mean, I had a lot of turtles, but I had a lot of random turtles. Like it felt like when there was a series of turtles, like the storage shells, like I had one, and then like even down to those metal ones that had like the mech sort of pieces that went on them. I only had one. I only had the Raphael one that sort of had turned into like a phoenix or something like that. But anyway, let me get these guys off the card. Full disclosure, I prepped this video a little bit better than I prep most, so that they're almost off the card already. I just got to make a couple very quick cuts, and away we go. Is he gonna stay up? No, he's not. So they got to come fully off the card. Now these are and they've got, and of course I didn't grab scissors. Dang it. Thought I was going to get away with not having to clip anything out today. Foiled again. All right, so these guys are held in with these often annoyingly placed little bits. And the weird thing is the throwing stars are actually held in with one of these too. Of all the things, they tape the pizza in, they tape the nunchucks in. This is held in with a little plastic bit. Oh, jeez. And the throwing stars are going to be the thing that you lose. So I guess maybe that's what they were thinking too. Make it harder for them to fall out. Make it a little bit harder for you to lose them right out of the package. Now, question for anybody watching, and for anybody watching in the replay, let me know in the comments. When you open figures, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I do mention it most of the time just because it's the way that I do it and people are watching. I always take the accessories out first and then the figure. And then I look at the figure, and then I look at the accessories. Like that's kind of my process. What do you guys start with? Do you guys get the figure out right away? Do you get the accessories out right away? Do you have a process? Is it just however it happens, different every time? I'm curious. I'm curious because it's kind of one of those funny things where like I didn't sit down and think like, okay, how am I going to do this? What's the process going to be for me? It's just the way that it's just sort of the way that I've always done it. So yeah, I'm just curious what everybody else does. And I'm going to pop all three of these guys out, get their accessories kind of laid out, and then we'll take a closer look at this. So you get the storage shell. You can tuck everything away in there. I want to see, I want to test whether you can actually get everything inside the storage shell or not. I'm not convinced. I remember as a kid that it was like impossible to get everything inside the shell. But maybe that was because I was a kid and not as clever. And maybe just didn't put the effort in. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Anyway, moving on to Leo. And for anybody that's tuned in before, when I've cut things off of card, you will know that I use this big giant kitchen knife as my unboxing tool. Because it does the best job, is why, if you're wondering why. You're probably not wondering why, you probably don't care. But actually once I get Raph out, I'll show with Leo why I use this big old thing. There is a reason. It's not just random. Well, it is pretty random that I do it, but there's a reason behind it. All right, so these are going to come out. These are going to shoot out as soon as I... now, for anybody that does vintage turtles, did you have your collection from childhood, or did you have to replace everything? And if you had them from childhood, do you still have a single throwing star? That is my other question. Man, they're in here good. Like these are... Some figures kind of like fall right out. These do not at all. Michael says, I'm down to TMNT rabbit hole right now, and you're responsible. You know what? I'm down that same rabbit hole right now. And I was sort of like, TMNT was a property that like I was really big into as a kid. As an adult collector, like this didn't appeal to me as much as some other things. So I didn't like, I don't have any vintage Ninja Turtles. I've only sort of gotten back into them with modern lines, which is kind of odd, I think. Or at least that's my opinion based on like the Ninja Turtles groups that I'm in, where everybody's like, I don't need the re-releases. I just want vintage stuff. Michael says there's no way you fit his katanas in the shell. Well, you don't have to, because his katanas actually mount on his back. You don't have to mount everything into the shell, thankfully, because you're absolutely right. You wouldn't be able to get everything in there. I prepped the cards because I realized there's no way anybody would sit through me cutting all those cards off. It takes forever. Now I think Raph has probably the coolest accessories, but we'll take a closer look when we get there. Now, feel free to let me know as well in the chat there who your favorite turtle is. And if you want, you can tell me why. As I said, Donatello is my favorite, and I kind of couldn't tell you why. It's like you got to pick one. You know, it feels like you know, nobody wants to hear that, like, oh, I like them all the same. So you got to pick one. And I picked Donnie. That's kind of how that sort of played out. I like them all, and I think that's kind of the appeal of Ninja Turtles, isn't it? That like they're all different, and they're all, you know, they have their own personalities. They're all unique enough in some way that that you can't be like, oh, I like this one, but I don't care for any of the others. Like that'd just be weird. These are well, I'll do a little bit of a comparison after. But these feel a lot hardier, a lot sturdier than like just the normal classic turtles. They feel like it feels denser. The plastic feels denser, if that makes any sense at all. Trying to get them all cozy enough here that they'll all fit unseen. Samrock says, I have most of the original storage shells. They're very cool figures. Yeah, they're kind of like, they're unique enough. Like the gimmick is unique enough that it kind of lends itself to some play value without making the turtles themselves really weird. Like the mutation turtles or something like that, where you're kind of like, yeah. Mike says, first you put me on an A-walk, now this. I followed you for Mythic Leeches. Well, the good news is I'm not into many other lines, but stay tuned for more. There's a couple other lines. Jeremy, I see what you did there. Raphael is cool, but rude. Give him a break. Sam Rock, my favorite turtle is a tie between Raphael and Michelangelo, but I like them all in different ways. Exactly. That's my point, is that like you can't, I don't know. It's hard to pick one because like on any given day, you know, when I'm in a different mood, maybe Donatello is not my favorite. You know, when I'm feeling like a party dude, I'm into Michelangelo. When I'm feeling like a jerk douchebag that nobody likes, I'm feeling Leonardo. You know, I can sympathize. But I mean, Jeremy, Raphael. I mean, Raphael is one of those ones. You know, Sam, you said Raphael as well. Raphael is one of those turtles where, like, I think everybody, you know, as a kid, everybody wanted to be Raphael. You know, we all wanted to be the kind of broody, tough guy. Michael says, Michelangelo, I related to him the most during childhood, pizza and jokes. I've heard that a lot. I've heard a lot of people that, you know, like, oh, I was the class clown. I was the funny guy. So I liked Michelangelo. And, you know, you share a similar name. So I could see that. Jeremy says, somebody say AWOC. Yeah, that's so for anybody that doesn't know, Jeremy is the well, I don't know if I say the brains behind the Primal Battles, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Primal Battles tabletop game. If you don't know about that, where have you been? They're gonna have a tabletop game that goes with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom where you can use your 6-inch scaled figures as the playing pieces, which I think is genius. Okay, so I said that I use this big knife, and I don't know that I've ever explained why. And I don't know that I can show it. I'll try. I'm going to change the angle. Bear with me for the noise. All right, so there I have Donatello. This blade, being the length that it is, I can get nice and flat and just cut like really cleanly. And I'm pressing down on the end of the blade almost, and I don't, it doesn't bite into the cardboard. I get a nice, really clean cut from the card. And I got one other little section over here to cut through. So using this big giant knife seems like overkill. But I get a really nice clean cut off the card. With very little extra plastic still left on there, and very seldomly, but I do once in a while kind of get a little bit of ding into the card. But anytime I want to keep a card, that seems to work really, really well. Which is why I use an absurdly big, oversized knife. Anyway, back to turtles. I wish I had a bigger knife. I wish I had like a Crocodile Dundee knife to really just to really make it over the top. But Mike says, hats off to you, Jeremy. Animal Warriors of the Kingdom is awesome. I'm all in. Yeah, as am I. And stay tuned for more on that. I've got... Jeremy's actually sent me a package in the mail, so I've got some cool stuff that should be here next week. So I'll probably have it in time for next Sunday's regular video. But I may do an open late video just for that package. Even though it's not a toy, it's some pretty cool stuff. So I won't be opening a figure as such, but it'll be cool. Oh yeah, Michael. I think it's the comic that pushed me over. Yeah, I was down for the line. I liked that they had a comic. I liked that they had a board game. And then I read the comic, and that's what really I kind of flipped the switch a little bit for me. And then honestly, just talking to Jason from Spiro Toys and Jeremy, who's hanging out here tonight, just talking to those two fine gentlemen about their motivation and their plans, and the fact that they're just really nice, genuine dudes that just love toys and really wanted to put out a good product. With all the cool toys out, all the lines that we can sort of choose from, having cool product isn't always enough. I really like to support people that I would like to have a beer with and hang out with and chat with. So it was an easy decision for me to go all in on Animal Warriors of the Kingdom for sure. Michael says, do these turtles have SH Figure Arts articulation? No, but there are SH Figure Arts turtles, believe it or not. I don't have them. They came out a while ago, and they're not cheap. But the sculpts are kind of funky because the articulation it doesn't sort of supersede the sculpt, but it's yeah, I don't know. Jeremy says, a beer. Let's have a few. Absolutely, my friend. And I'm still trying to get things lined up so that I can go to Legion's Con, and I think that'll be that's probably our best chance for meeting up, at least in the next year or so. But we'll see. All right, so that's the 4 turtles open. So I'm quickly going to do a card back comparison. Then I'm going to tighten up the camera angle and take a closer look at the turtles. So we got the 2 cards. Now, for all intents and purposes, you know, from afar, they don't look that different. You do just get more, you get French, right? So, you know, here we get Donatello with storage shell. It also says avec rangement dans la carapace for the French translation. You know, we get everything that's on this card, and then translated in French, at least on the front. Then on the back is where it gets dramatically different. The Canadian card is super, super boring. It's just the 4 turtles with their sort of shell backs open and then some legalese. That's it. That's all. There's nothing fun on the Canadian card back. Except that it says Tortue Ninja. So it's, I guess that's kind of, that's probably more interesting if you're not Canadian. If you're Canadian, you just kind of don't care. The US card back, on the other hand, we get like the mini comic of like, okay, how did these turtles come to be? You know, the mutagen, Shredder, Splinter, they grew, they became ninjas. Then we get, you know, the 4 turtles, which is the same pictures, but you know, we get the comic, and then each of the turtles has a bio card, which is awesome. And I get why they don't do this. I mean, for like legal reasons, like they'd have to do this in English and in French to sell it in Canada, or at least to sell it in Quebec. And so a lot of companies just do this. They just kind of skimp on the card and go, "Hey, I just throw a generic card in there. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody will notice. Nobody will say anything." But because Donatello is my favorite, that's why I picked up this guy when I was on vacation. Because I wanted the file card. I think that's really cool. I think that's a nice touch. And as usual, you know, feel free to pause it and read it, because I'm not. But anyway, that's the very, very quick card comparison. They're the same, like it's, you know, it's the same card stock. Like everything about it is the same. You get the exact same figure with the exact same accessories in the exact same, you know, like configuration. Everything's the same, apart from the language on the front. And then, like I said, on the back, there's just a huge letdown of like, yeah, here's a picture of the turtles, no big deal. Versus, you know, here's some personality, here's a comic. Anyway, huge difference in terms of the cards. The America, I can see why people would keep the American cards. I don't know why anybody would keep them on the card, on the Canadian card. Anyway, let's zoom in a little bit, tighten this up. My little camera arm thing here is in need of replacing, so it doesn't stay where I want it to anymore, which is frustrating. It's good enough. That'll do. Okay, so first of all, we get the storage back. So they all pop open. There's just a little tab on one side. It's pretty hardy. Like they've built these to last. Like it's not just a little flimsy little joint. Like it's on there pretty good. It's sort of plugged in and sort of bolted together. What's funny is that they've basically just hollowed out the body. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but like that's the joint for his arm. Like when I rotate his arm, you can see that it's rotating. So they've literally just hollowed the figures out, cut the body into 2, put a shell on the back, and then said, you know, have at it. Put as much in there as you possibly can. Now, this is going to be the fun part. I'm not going to try to put their main weapons in. Their main weapons I'm going to sort of set aside, and they can go in hand, or as I said, you know, Michelangelo. What? There's 3 holes for his 2 nunchucks? That's odd, but I guess that's what fit on the back. Interesting. 3 holes, I guess, is better than none. but I imagined it was going to be 4. Well, there you go. As I didn't have the vintage ones, you know, I now I've learned something new. Anyway, moving on. Let's see if we get this stuff all in. I will go over the accessories as I'm loading them. Yeah, I know. As soon as I said it, I knew that's what she said. Bill Lionaire says, I passed on these. They look really McDonald's-y. Well, you know, funny you should say that. When I get through the turtles, I'm going to compare like just the classic release to the shell back, or the storage shell. The storage shell actually feel a lot hardier. They feel heavier. There's definitely more to them. All right, first things first. They all come with 2 of these little throwing stars, which seem to be pretty much exactly the same as the ones that you get from the like classic turtles. I'm immediately putting them on a little peg that is in the shell because I know that I'm going to lose them if I don't. And then everything else just kind of goes in the shell. Like there's no design to it. You just chuck it all in there. So they all come with these like pizzas that have like a saw blade type of look to them. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that they're all the same. Yeah, so everybody gets the same pizza, everybody gets the same throwing stars, and then the rest of the accessories are different. So we'll put his pizza in there. Then he gets a flashlight that sort of looks like it's a shell, like it has sort of turtle shell type design to it. Tuck that in there. And then he gets what I believe to be a grappling hook with what would be the equivalent of about 18 inches of rope. I don't know how small a building he intends to scale, but there it is. Which, you know, for the toys, I think at the time, I don't think any kid was complaining because we were just happy to get cool stuff. And success, it fits, which I actually genuinely didn't think it would. Now maybe it'll be interesting when we get to Donatello, because Donatello seems to have some, like one of his accessories looks a little bit bigger, and I wonder if it doesn't fit. All right, Leonardo is up next. Let's take a quick look. Same thing as with Michelangelo. I'm not going to put the katana in. I'm not even going to try because they go on the back. He has pretty much the standard crossed sword holding capabilities on there. I am going to put these throwing stars in here immediately so I don't lose them. I'm going to do that on all of them, so I'm not going to say it for the next 2. I'll just do it and be done. Pizza. Tuck that in. He gets these 2 I mean, I guess there's some sort of, you know, knuckle type of thing. They are spiked. I always thought it was interesting that, like, you know, for so many of us, we were very familiar with the cartoon, and in the cartoon, like, they never really beat anybody up, even, you know, like they'd fight Bebop and Rocksteady in the foot, but they'd kind of kick them and knock them over and move on, and nobody ever really got hurt. In the same way that, like in G.I. Joe, right? Like nobody ever got shot with a laser properly. Everybody was always fine. The comic book was a very different story. It was very graphic, gory, bloody. You know, ninjas kill people. That's what they do. That's what they're good at. And that's what the turtles did. And so it's interesting when you get, you know, a weapon like that where you go like, yeah, it's in line with the nature of ninjas to cause gratuitous bodily harm. This one's funny. This is like an armadillo with an angry face. It's like a club, I guess. He's got an armadillo club to beat somebody with. And this is the first one where I genuinely don't think that this is gonna fit. I don't think this is gonna close. No, there's no way. I don't like. Is there a way to like Jenga this stuff in here? Maybe. Like I gotta like figure out. There's probably like a perfect. Is there gonna be like a perfect way to fit this? This is what I meant by like I genuinely don't think they're gonna fit. So they're storage shell to a point, but like, yeah, I can't imagine a scenario in which, oh, well, I just proved myself wrong because there, it's all in there. I did it. So there's a way. Is there a way for all of them? Sam, you said, I think you said you have them. Can you get all their stuff in? I don't think it's possible to get all the weapons in any of the turtles. Well, I mean, apart from these, you know, which mount outside, which I sort of set as my parameters before I started. So far, I'm 2 for 2. So let's see. Let's ride this out and sort of see where we get. Okay. So Raphael is of course next. One thing I will mention is that the accessories are a lot softer. Like the plastic is almost rubbery. The plastic for the reissue classic ones was clearly a different plastic. You know, Michael, you mentioned, you know, that you're going down a Ninja Turtles rabbit hole, and I said that, you know, I didn't really do the vintage stuff. Part of the reason that I didn't do the vintage stuff is because I remember stuff like this, like just the weapons were always just kind of janky and wimpy and bent. Nothing was ever straight, but whatever, it is what it is. Okay, size aren't going to go in the back. Okay, so there's no way that that's gonna fit. Although I guess it's bendy, so I guess, well, let's find out. All right, pizza, as they all have. He's got this boomerang, which, you know, I could see this coming with Walkabout, but I don't know why it comes with Raphael. Whatever, it is what it is. I'm going to try. Okay, I think that's going to go underneath. I think I'm going to put this underneath as well. This is another, you know, Spike Club, but this comes with like a devil ray sort of on it. I don't know if that's like a Surfer Sewer Mike reference or what's the Ray's name? Ray Fillet reference. I don't know. But anyway, it's a weird accessory. But it is what it is. Okay, I don't think that's gonna go in. I think the pizza's gonna go in next. I think that's gonna go in after. There's no way this is gonna fit in as well. So this is, of course, probably the most interesting, most fun accessory of the bunch between all the figures. So this is a flail with a pufferfish on the end. Pufferfish all puffed up and ready for action. Now, if you hit somebody with a pufferfish, wouldn't the pufferfish just like explode? He's just full of air. I just don't see that being a very viable weapon. But anyway, will it fit? That's what we all want to know. I think if I bend it, but then if I bend it, it's gonna like. Oh, I didn't put the throwing stars in. I would have lost them. All right, this is going to be the biggest challenge of the lot because this guy definitely has the biggest accessories so far. But let's see. Can I do it? Am I up to the task? Probably not, is my guess. I don't know. I just don't like, why would they design accessories? No, there's just too much volume. There's just too much going on there. I wonder if you could just get that in if you didn't get the axe in. Nah, but then you'd have to bend it, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to damage it. So 2 out of 3. Let's see how it goes with Donnie. What's the over under? What's the over under on Donnie's accessories fitting in his shell? He's got you know, the standard bow staff mount on his backpack there, or on his belt. So that is going to be exempt. That's super noodly. May as well be a nunchuck. Then we get the 2 throwing stars. As I said, I wouldn't bother mentioning, but I am because I have them in hand. And they seem to fit one way and they don't fit the other way, which is weird. Pizza, as they all have. I'm not going to put that in just yet. He comes with a tomahawk style axe. No fish reference on there. He does come with the fish dagger. So a dagger that, you know, has a fish. The fish even has a little tail, which is pretty fun. That will easily fit in here. Get that pizza in. And then this thing. So he's got this slingshot, and the slingshot has this, you know, string bit. And I think if I squish this one, I think this one will fit because that plastic's bendy. Now I wonder if the plastic is bendy so that this stuff will fit. So that if you really wanted to, you could just jam it all in there. And yeah, so that fits without too much effort, which is cool. So apart from the pufferfish flail, I had pretty good success. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Now, very quick comparison, size wise. So I'm just gonna scoot these guys out of the way for a second. Donatello, storage shell Donatello is basically the same size as the classic Donatello. As I said, this guy feels hardier. He feels like it's harder plastic. It's different plastic than it is on the classic ones. The weapons, on the other hand, you know, these are more rigid than the storage shell ones. Size wise, you know, the classic turtles are always very, very small. So that's compared to a Nekatoon turtle. It comes up to about a shoulder. And then a Super 7 Ultimates turtle, he doesn't even come up to his shoulder. It comes up to about his bicep. So they're considerably smaller. Like I don't have any to compare to, but these are, I believe, even slightly smaller than like Motu figures, like the Origins or the vintage figures. So they're quite small, and that's, you know, again, it's kind of charming. There's certainly a charm about the Ninja Turtles in their original scale. But pretty decent figures if you're into Ninja Turtles, and if you don't mind, you know, re-releases and sort of retro stuff, whatever. I'd say they're worth it. I would say, you know, although I don't have the originals to compare, you know, apples to apples as such, I would say that these are a pretty decent remake, pretty decent quality, at least from sort of first impressions. Now, whether they will stand up to, you know, wear and tear of kids playing with them, I don't know. but we will see, as my kids will inevitably be playing with these. They've been waiting for me to open them so that they've got access to them, to get into the turtle van, to get them into the blimp and stuff like that. So that's the Storage Shell Turtles unboxed. Yeah. Any that was a quick one. That was easy. 40 minutes, man. Usually go way longer. Anything anybody wants to chat about? Any questions? Did you guys what do you guys think of these turtles? I know Billionaire passed on them. Did you guys pick these up? Have you thought about picking them up? Is turtles, not something that's on your radar? Let me know. Otherwise, I will wrap it up. I'm definitely doing a video tomorrow. I got Brick something coming on to hang out with me and chat about Savage Crucible Kickstarter. We're gonna talk a little bit more about Animal Wars of the Kingdom because nobody is gonna tell us not to. And then we're gonna talk a little bit, if we have time, about how these sort of Kickstarter lines, these small upstart boutique independent lines, are affecting the major lines, if at all, or how it's affecting us as collectors. So that should be a good episode tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Is that right? No, it's earlier than that. 1:30 Pacific. So that I still have time to wrap it up and still get in front of my TV to watch the Super Bowl. It's just a little bit earlier than normal. As I said, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern. Sam said the original weapons are harder plastic, so you can't bend them to put them in the shell. That's what I remember. That's why when I saw that they had the same accessories and I saw Donatello's slingshot, I was like, yeah, I remember that this just never made it into the shell. So I wonder if that's a change that they made so that stuff could fit in the shell without breaking. I actually, believe it or not, my re-release Michelangelo doesn't have any nunchucks because I put his nunchucks in his belt and didn't really think to heat them up and bend them before I did that, and they just snapped because that plastic is just surprisingly brittle. But Michael says, thanks, Adam. I'll join tomorrow's live. Absolutely do, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Brick's always fun to talk to, so it's going to be a good one. It's going to be fun, I'm sure. And on that note, I will say thank you to you guys in the chat. Thank you to anybody that is watching on replay. It's I love toys. I love talking about toys. I love opening toys. And as I always say, it's always more fun to open toys with friends. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. Talk to you all again very, very soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening and weekend, or day if you're watching this on replay. Until next time, thanks again. Bye-bye.